As an American US passport holder, watching the vote yesterday at the UN and seeing the US voting against the resolution is beyond heartbreaking for the people in Palestine, because we've reached a certain point in the conflict where there's nothing else to show. We day in, day out, we see dead children, we see people suffering, people unable to eat, and yet our politicians are still gathering together and actually voting against a ceasefire.
What a day to be here. The day after every single member of the UN Security Council votes for a ceasefire, except for two. One is the British government, which abstained on that vote, and the other is the United States government, which voted against it. And when you think about what this means, I remember when we had apartheid South Africa, this was exactly the same. Every single time there was a resolution, the British government vetoed it. Every single time they were backed by the United States. And it's happening again with this apartheid state, with this genocide, with this appalling treatment of the Palestinians.
Nothing in the world will stop our struggle. All this Israeli aggression will not stop our struggle for our freedom, for our dignity, for our liberty, and we will overcome. We will overcome with your support, with your solidarity. We will overcome and we will defeat all these forces that are trying to re-establish colonialism in Palestine.
It's my great honour and privilege today to read a poem by the late Rifat Al-Hariya. As you know, Rifat was killed in an airstrike on Thursday. He was a brilliant writer, editor, poet, academic and activist. And my good friend Hamed Massoud, when I spoke to him, he was friends with Rifat, and I said, can you give me some words to share with the people today? And he said, Hamed said, we were literally messaging each other a couple of days ago, and it all feels so unreal at the moment. Rifat was a learned, hopeful friend with an incredible sense of humour. He loved his food so much. He said, the last time I saw him was in May when I was in Gaza and we talked about organising a Palestinian literary festival. I suppose that is not going to happen now. He said he taught his students to love literature and how to dream. So I am now going to read you Rifat's last poem, If I Must Die. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad, who left in a blaze and bid no farewell, not even to his own flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Thank you, Rifat.
Thank you, Maxine, for those heartfelt words. I'd like to ask you all to join us for a minute's silence in remembrance of all the Palestinians who have been killed over the past 9 weeks.
Friends, give me your attention as I recall the story of a 16-year-old girl called Sama al-Najjar. Sama was born in 2007 under Israeli siege. In 2008, when Sama was just 1 year, Israel carried out Operation Cast Lead. She was a witness to over 1,000 of her fellows being killed. In 2012, when Sama was 5, Israel carried out Pillar of Defense. For over 8 days, she witnessed other hundreds of people killed. In 2014, when Sama was just 7, Israel carried out Operation Protective Age. Sama witnessed the killing of over 2,000 of our fellow friends, family, and relatives. In 2021, when Sama was 14, Israel again killed 256 people. In October 2023, when Sama reached the age of 16, the horrors of the past 16 years turned into a living hell. Israel routinely killed every child every 15 minutes. The bombs Israel is dropping are so powerful that they're ripping the bodies into pieces. Parents are writing the names of their children on the legs, on hands and stomach, in the dread that if their child is bombed, then maybe they'll be able to recover some part and identify their child. I regret to report Sama was one of this child. Those children, unlike Sama, who are not killed, suffer from post-traumatic disorder 24/7. Children in Gaza have stopped dreaming of the future because they don't know if they have a place in the future. It can be not right, my friends, that a child is told 5 minutes before their house is bombed to vacate it. It cannot be right to ask a child to move south and then bomb the south. It cannot be right for a child to fear the outside. Israel has ripped the innocence of the children in Gaza. Israel has stolen the childhood from the children of Gaza. And Israel is indiscriminately killing the children of Gaza. Children of Gaza have a right to ask Israel, why me? And children of Israel have a right to ask, where is the world? My friends, it is our responsibility to say to the children of Gaza, we are here for you and stop the genocide. It is our responsibility to say to the children of Gaza, we will heal the wounds caused by Israel. It is our responsibility to say to the children of Gaza, we will balm your pain. However, we will never replace your stolen childhood, nor replace Sama. But we will help you on the road to freedom and help make Gaza a safe home. My friends, it is time to stop the genocide and do whatever we can. So free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Thank you very much.
This is the naked face of imperialism and of colonialism. And Israel could not continue their horrific crimes without the support of the United States, of Britain, and the European leaders. So they are all complicit with this now. The conscience of the world is on the streets here, and the criminals are in that building, the ones who couldn't even vote to say ceasefire. But it's not just ceasefire. If there was any doubt, there is none now. The state of Israel has no place in the civilized world.
As a Jewish person, I am so disgusted and ashamed to see the IDF instituting a Chabad house in Gaza. It is nothing less than a Chilul Hashem, a desecration of the very name of God. to weaponize and instrumentalize the ancient religion of my ancestors in the name of a very modern genocide. It is a Hilul Hashem. And when I light my Chanukia tonight, I'm not thinking about one of the world's most powerful militaries. I'm not thinking of people committing ethno-nationalist violence, committing genocide notionally in my name. I'm thinking of doctors in Gaza who know they don't have enough fuel, but they treat their patients anyway. I'm thinking of parents who don't know if they'll wake up tomorrow, but they put their children to bed anyway. I'm thinking of all of us when it seems so hopeless, who come and march anyway.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Mary Mason. I'm a former Labour, but now independent socialist group councillor in Haringey. I have to say, just before I start, that I have had many more people in my area supporting my stand rather than people who have been against it, which is very, very reassuring. Genocide can never, ever be just. And let's be clear, this is beyond death. It's beyond national and international law. The destruction of Palestine homeland, choosing to bomb hospitals and schools, knowingly killing civilians, babies, children. This is ethnic cleansing, attempting to strip people of their humanity. Nothing to do with progress, nothing to do with global or economic security, and nothing to do with democracy. It's also nothing to do with understanding the resistance and resilience of people and the support Palestinians have across the world. So now it is that time to be human, it's time to stand together, to use all the different ways and means we can to join together and say no, not in my name. Solidarity.
So where are our political leaders? None of them were voted in by the electorate. None of them were voted in by you. They are placeholders bought by international power brokers. Conservative friends of Israel, Labour friends of Israel, follow the money. They are friends with benefits. Our party leaders are puppets dancing to the tune of lobbyists and corporate donors who have bought their souls. Where is their integrity? Where is their honor? Where are their values? Without these, they have no authority over us.
As a black South African-born Oxford City Councillor, it was very important that I put the historical context of apartheid, so I could draw similarities in our occupation by the white South African racist regime, and to vehemently state that Israel is a racist regime. It is an apartheid state. It was Nelson Mandela who stated that our freedom with Palestine was intertwined. We will never be free until Palestine is free. It was on those grounds that me, along with 10 councillors in Oxford, we resigned from the Labour Party. And we have since moved a motion, a unanimously supported motion of ceasefire. I would also like to state that we must not vote for the politicians who do not support the ceasefire. No ceasefire, no vote.
We have the power of the people who have refused to be silenced by those in power. They have cut the food and electricity off of Gaza, but they've lit a fire in each and every single one of us. They have left us all hungry for justice. They tried to silence Gaza, but they turned the world into Palestine. So when they ask you about courage, tell them about Palestine. When they ask you about bravery, show them the Palestinian children. When they ask you about betrayal, tell them about the world leaders. When they ask you about being complicit, tell them about your government. When they ask you about cowards, point to the MPs who refused a ceasefire. So let's get this straight. There should be no debate about the value of a human life. All lives matter. We are not numbers. History did not start on October 7th. It's been 63 days and 75 years of occupation. It's not a conflict, it's occupation. It's not a war, it's ethnic cleansing. It's not fighting, it's genocide. It's not self-defense, it's collective punishment. It's not complicated, it's Western imperialism. And we're drowning in the silence of a complicit government. If the mourning of a human life deserves a moment of silence, then you, Palestine, deserve for the world to never speak again. Thank you.
What a beautiful sight it is here today. All the streets all around Westminster full of people demanding peace and justice for the Palestinian people. Thank you all for coming. The whole world suffered a terrible loss this week when the death was announced of Benjamin Zephaniah. Benjamin Zephaniah was a wonderful man in so many ways. And he once wrote, and I quote, "When I was young, there were two things I really wanted to see: a free South Africa and a free Palestine." Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben, for all you said and did in your life, and we're inspired by it. Last night was a day of global disgrace when the United States vetoed a resolution to the UN Security Council, when the British government simply abstained on the issue. And this is after the United Nations General Secretary had said life is unsustainable in Gaza. The entire population being corralled into an area smaller than that of an airport, with little food, little water, no medicines, no means of escape, no means of living anywhere in safety. And the death toll has now surpassed 17,000 people killed in Gaza since this particular conflict kicked off, on top of the 1,200 killed in Israel before that. We have the most disgraceful global situation where we are essentially observers live on television of first world weapons being used to destroy a people who have nothing but their own dignity and wish to survive. Our job and our purpose is to send them this message of support and of solidarity and a pledge that we will never go away so long as the Palestinian people are under occupation and under this degree of oppression. And where all this leads to is the expulsion of the people of Gaza, who were themselves expelled in the Nakba of 1948, or their ancestors were. And they will then be forced into the Sinai, and a new Gaza will be created in the Sinai, with all the misery and all the injustice associated with that. So the disgusting behavior of Western governments who simply cannot see that they are complicit in the killing of so many Palestinian lives by their supply of weapons and their refusal to do anything to demand a ceasefire. And it's not the only part of Palestine that is being so disgracefully treated at the moment. I just want to say two last things because there's limited time for speaking. I got a message this morning from my friend Mick Bowman, who walked to Palestine as an act of solidarity from his home in Newcastle. And he sent me a message from the South Hebron Hills, where he is at the moment. And he says the settlers have been armed with 20,000 assault rifles. 20 more villages have been depopulated by settler violence with the complicit of the Israeli army. And he is at the village of Kalat el Dabar, which is he is defending along with other people. He said, tell the people at the rally in London today, solidarity with the people of the West Bank and of Gaza and of the refugee camps. Solidarity with all Palestinian people. And I say to my colleagues over there in Parliament, shame on you! Shame on you for not being prepared to vote for a ceasefire. Shame on you for doing nothing about the arms trade that fuels this war. And if I just may finish on this one line, we're united in our demand for peace and justice for the Palestinian people, and that will never go away. I want us all to be active as well for peace and justice in the other wars that are fueled by the arms trade, in the Sudan, in Congo, in Yemen, in West Papua, and so many other places, so that it is the voice, the global voice of ordinary people around the world who walk with a sense of revulsion of what they're seeing on their television screens and demand that national parliaments do something about it now. Thank you very much.
Well, to people in Gaza, as a human being, I feel deeply ashamed. Along with many of my friends, we're at a distance and we can't imagine the trauma you're experiencing, but we feel it. I feel it. It's terrible. So we do care. We're doing what we can, despite the machinery and the media control and the West being complicit. We are doing what we can. I can promise you that.